Hyunwoo stepped between Lyra and the security officers. His heart was pounding, but he kept his voice steady. She has done nothing wrong. Jiwoo Choi walked forward, his expression hard. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been head of colonial security for 10 years, and he believed in the law above everything else. "Step aside, Hyunwoo," Jiwoo said. "You are already in serious trouble. Do not make it worse. I cannot do that. She is an undocumented alien on a human colony world. The law is very clear. She must be detained and processed." "And then what?" Hyunwoo demanded. "You know what happens to her people. The Kryn Empire claims them as property. You would be sending her back to slavery." "That is not my concern," Jiwoo said, but something flickered in his eyes. "Doubt maybe, or guilt. I enforce colonial law. What happens after is not my responsibility." "That is a coward's answer," Daewon shouted from the ship's ramp. "You are just following orders. You know it is wrong." "Watch your mouth, pilot," Jiwoo warned. "You are in trouble too. Attempting to transport an illegal alien." More security vehicles arrived. Officers formed a circle around the landing pad. There were at least 15 of them now, all armed. Hyunwoo looked at them and saw faces he recognized. Some of these people were his neighbors. People he had seen at the colony market. Regular people doing their jobs. Lyra was trembling behind him. Hyunwoo could feel her fear radiating like heat. She had been so close to freedom. "So close, please," Lyra said quietly, her translator making her words clear to everyone. "Please do not send me back. They will hurt me, please." Some of the officers looked uncomfortable. They had probably never heard an alien speak before. They had probably never thought about aliens as real people with feelings and fears. Jiwoo's jaw tightened. "I am sorry, but the law is the law." "The law is wrong," Hyunwoo said loudly. He pulled out his communication device and activated its broadcast function. "And everyone should know it." Jiwoo's eyes widened. "What are you doing?" "Broadcasting to the whole colony," Hyunwoo said. "Everyone can hear us now. Everyone can hear what you are doing." Jiwoo moved toward him, but Hyunwoo backed up, keeping the device active. He spoke clearly, making sure his words reached everyone in New Haven Colony. "My name is Hyunwoo Kim. I found an alien refugee on my farm. Her name is Lyra. She is from a people called the Vela. The Kryn Empire destroyed her world and enslaved her people. She escaped and crashed here. She has been hiding, afraid, alone." He looked at Lyra, then back at the gathered officers and the device broadcasting his words. "I helped her. I gave her food and shelter. I treated her wounds. And when I found out that our laws would send her back to slavery, I tried to help her escape to freedom. Now security wants to arrest me and send her back to the people who will hurt her." Jiwoo tried to interrupt. "Turn off that broadcast." "No," Hyunwoo said. "People need to know. They need to know what we are doing in the name of law and order. We are sending refugees back to be slaves. Is that who we are? Is that what humanity stands for?" People were gathering now. Colonists coming from nearby farms attracted by the security presence in the broadcast. They formed a crowd at the edge of Hyunwoo's property watching. "I came to this colony to escape my pain," Hyunwoo continued. "I lost my family and I wanted to be alone. But Lyra showed me something. She showed me that isolation is not the answer. Connection is. Compassion is. Even when it is hard. Even when it is dangerous." Lyra was crying now. Daewon had tears in her eyes too. Even some of the security officers looked moved. "So yes, I broke the law," Hyunwoo said. "I would break it again. Because some things are more important than law. Doing what is right is more important. Protecting the innocent is more important. Being human means having compassion, even for those who are different from us." Jiwoo stepped forward. "This is very moving, Hyunwoo, but it changes nothing. I have my orders. The alien will be detained. Then you will have to go through me," Hyunwoo said. "And me," Daewon added, walking down to stand beside him. Jiwoo looked frustrated. "I do not want to use force, but I will if I have to." "Do it then," Hyunwoo said. "Show everyone who we really are." The security officers raised their weapons, but they looked uncertain. They were not used to this. They usually dealt with drunk colonists and property disputes, not moral stands and broadcast speeches. Then a voice cut through the tension. "Stand down." Everyone turned. A woman was walking through the crowd. Min Seo-han, the colony administrator. She was a small woman with steel in her eyes and authority in her voice. She walked straight up to Jiwoo. "Administrator Han," Jiwoo said, surprised. What are you doing here? I heard the broadcast, Mincio said. Along with everyone else in the colony. Lower your weapons. All of you. But the law, I am aware of the law, Ji-woo, Mincio said sharply. I am also aware of emergency discretionary powers granted to colony administrators in humanitarian situations. She turned to look at Lyra. Is what he said true? Were you enslaved? Lyra nodded, unable to speak. Mincio walked closer to her. Show me your arms. Lyra hesitated, then rolled up her sleeves. On her forearms were marks. Burn scars in patterns that were clearly not natural. Identification marks, Hyunwoo realized. The Kryn had branded her like livestock. Minseo's face went hard. She had seen enough. By the emergency powers granted to me as colony administrator, I am placing this individual under humanitarian asylum pending investigation, Minseo declared. She will not be detained or processed. She will not be returned to any claiming authority until a full review has been conducted. Jiwoo's mouth fell open. You cannot do this. I just did, Minseo said. And if you have a problem with it, you can file a complaint with the Colonial Board. But for now my order stands. She looked at Da-un. Get her on your ship. Get her to New Hope Sanctuary. Now before I change my mind or someone overrules me. Da-un did not need to be told twice. Come on, Lyra, let's go. Lyra looked at Hyunwoo, her eyes full of emotions too big for words. I do not know how to thank you. You do not have to thank me, Hyunwoo said. His voice was thick with emotion. Just be safe, live free. That is enough. I will never forget you, Lyra said. I will tell my people about the human who chose kindness. I will make sure they know not all powerful beings are cruel. She wanted to hug him, he could tell, but she was still afraid of too much contact. Instead, she placed her hand over her heart in what must have been a Vela gesture of deep respect. Hyunwoo mirrored the gesture. Go, he said gently. Before they changed their minds, Lyra ran up the ramp into Da-un's ship. Daeun followed, pausing only to look back at Hyunwoo. You are either the bravest person I know or the craziest. Maybe both, Hyunwoo said. The ship's engines roared to life. The crowd backed away as the vessel lifted off the ground. Hyunwoo watched it rise into the sky, carrying Lyra toward safety and freedom. Jiwoo turned to Minseo. You know the Colonial Board will not accept this. They will overturn your decision. Let them try, Minseo said. By the time they process the paperwork, she will be at New Hope Sanctuary, and once she is there, she is under their protection. The Kryn cannot touch her. She looked at Hyunwoo. You are still in trouble. You broke several laws. There will be consequences. I know, Hyunwoo said. I accept that. Good, report to my office tomorrow. We will discuss your punishment. She paused, then added quietly. It was a brave thing you did. Stupid but brave. The crowd began to disperse. Some people nodded at Hyunwoo as they left. Others looked angry or confused. But they had all heard his speech. They had all seen what happened. Jiwoo and his officers left too, looking defeated and uncertain. As they drove away, one of the younger officers looked back at Hyunwoo with something like respect in his eyes. Hyunwoo stood alone in his field, watching the sky where Da-un's ship had disappeared. He felt exhausted. He felt scared about what would come next. But he also felt something he had not felt in 5 years. He felt proud. Proud of what he had done. Proud of who he had chosen to be. The sun was setting over his farm, painting the sky in colors of gold and red. Hyunwoo walked back to his house. It would feel empty now without Lyra, but it would not feel lonely, because he had learned something important. Being human was not about following rules or staying safe. It was about making choices, hard choices, brave choices. It was about choosing kindness even when kindness was dangerous, and he would make that choice again and again, no matter the cost. Hyunwoo stared at the communication screen, his finger hovering over the call button. He had not spoken to Da-un Park in almost 2 years. They had been friends once, back when he was more social, before his family died. She was a cargo pilot who ran supply routes between colony worlds. She was also someone who did not always follow the rules. That was why she owed him a favor. 3 years ago, Hyunwoo had helped her hide some undocumented cargo from colonial inspectors. He never asked what it was, and she never told him. But she had said if he ever needed anything, she would help him. No questions asked. It was time to call in that favor. Hyunwoo pressed the button. The screen blinked, connecting to Daeun's ship communication system. It rang twice before her face appeared on the screen. Daeun looked the same. Short, dark hair, sharp eyes, a scar on her left cheek from some accident she refused to talk about. She was in her ship's cockpit, surrounded by blinking controls. Hyunwoo? She looked surprised. I thought you were dead or something. You never call anyone. I need your help, Hyunwoo said simply. Daeun's expression became serious. What kind of help? I need you to transport someone, off-planet, to New Hope Sanctuary. New Hope Sanctuary was a humanitarian station 3 systems away. It operated independently from any government and took in refugees from across the galaxy. It was one of the few places that did not honor the Kryn Empire's claims. Daeun was quiet for a moment. What are you involved in, Hyunwoo? I cannot tell you over an open channel. Can you come here? To my farm? When? As soon as possible. I have 2 days before colonial security comes. Daeun's eyes widened slightly. This is serious. Very serious. She studied his face through the screen. You are calling in the favor? Yes. Daeun nodded slowly. Okay. I am 3 days out from Terminus 7. I can push my engines and get there in 2 days, but it will be close. That might be too late, Hyunwoo said. Security will be here by then. I will do my best, Daeun said. But Hyunwoo, if this is what I think it is, you need to be careful. Very careful. I know. The screen went dark. Hyunwoo sat back in his chair, feeling the weight of what he had just done. There was no going back now. Lyra had been listening from the doorway. Will she help? I think so. But she might not get here in time. Then we prepare, Lyra said. What do I need? Over the next day and a half, Hyunwoo gathered everything Lyra would need for her journey. He packed food that would not spoil, water purification tablets, medical supplies, and extra clothing. He gave her all the credits he had saved, enough to live on for several months. The hardest part was creating false documentation. Hyunwoo was not a criminal. He had never done anything like this before. But he accessed the colony's documentation network and carefully created a false identity for Lyra. He listed her as a registered worker from another colony, transferring to New Hope Sanctuary for employment. It would not hold up under serious inspection, but it might be enough to get her through basic checkpoints. While he worked, Lyra helped him in the fields one last time. They harvested vegetables together in the morning sun. Hyunwoo watched her work and felt sadness growing in his chest. He had only known her for a few days, but the house would feel empty when she was gone. What will you do after I leave? Lyra asked, as they picked tomatoes. I will face whatever consequences come, Hyunwoo said. Maybe prison. Maybe they will just find me and let me go. I am sorry, this is my fault. No, Hyunwoo said firmly. This is the Kryn Empire's fault. You did not choose any of this. Lyra was quiet for a moment. If I make it to New Hope Sanctuary, I want to help my people. Other Vela who escaped. I want to be a voice for them, tell the galaxy what is happening. You will make it, Hyunwoo said. I will make sure of that. That evening, Hyunwoo's terminal beeped with a message from Daeun. She was ahead of schedule. She would arrive tomorrow morning, several hours before the security scans were supposed to begin. Relief flooded through Hyunwoo. They would have time. Just barely, but they would have time. He told Lyra the good news, and he saw hope shine in her eyes. But that night, Hyunwoo could not sleep. He kept thinking about what would happen next. Lyra would leave. He would probably be arrested. His quiet life would be destroyed. Part of him wondered if he was making the right choice. Then he thought about Lyra being dragged back to the Kryn ships, put back in a cage, sold like property. And he knew. No matter what happened to him, this was right. The next morning came too quickly. Hyunwoo woke early and made breakfast for both of them. Lyra was quiet, nervous about the journey ahead. They ate in silence, both lost in their own thoughts. Around mid-morning, they heard the sound of engines overhead. Daeun's ship appeared in the sky, descending toward Hyunwoo's landing pad. It was a medium-sized cargo vessel, battered and old but well-maintained. Hyunwoo and Lyra walked out to meet the ship. The landing ramp lowered and Da-eun appeared at the top. She started walking down, then froze when she saw Lyra. By all the stars, Da-eun breathed. She is an alien, a real alien. Her name is Lyra, Hyunwoo said. She needs to get to New Hope Sanctuary. Da-eun walked slowly down the ramp, staring at Lyra. Do you know what you are asking me to do? If I get caught transporting an undocumented alien, I will lose my license. My ship. Everything. I know, Hyunwoo said. And I am sorry. But I am out of options. Da-eun looked at Lyra, really looked at her. She saw the fear in Lyra's eyes, the way she held herself ready to run, the desperation in her face. What happened to her? Da-eun asked. Hyunwoo told her. Everything. About the Kryn Empire, about Lyra's escape, about the laws that would send her back to slavery. Da-eun listened, her expression growing darker with each word. When Hyunwoo finished, Da-eun was quiet for a long time. She paced back and forth, thinking. Hyunwoo waited, barely breathing. This is insane, Da-eun finally said. This is the most insane thing anyone has ever asked me to do. I know. I could go to prison for this. I know. Da-eun stopped pacing and looked at Lyra again. Can you speak? Lyra nodded. Yes, through my translator. Thank you for coming. I know this is dangerous for you. Dangerous is a small word for what this is, Da-eun said. But her voice was not angry. It was thoughtful. She turned to Hyunwoo. You really think this is worth it? Risking everything for someone you just met? Yes, Hyunwoo said without hesitation. Da-eun looked between them both. Then she sighed deeply. My mother was a refugee, did you know that? She escaped from a war when she was young. Someone helped her get to safety even though it was illegal. She never forgot that kindness. She walked up to Lyra. I will take you to New Hope Sanctuary. But we leave right now. We cannot wait. Relief and joy flooded through Hyunwoo. Thank you, Da-eun. Thank you. Do not thank me yet, Da-eun said. We still have to get through security checkpoints. And speaking of security, she pulled out her data pad and frowned at the screen. There are vehicles approaching from the colony, fast, multiple units. Hyunwoo felt ice in his stomach. Security. They are early. How early? They were not supposed to be here until this afternoon. Da-eun's face went pale. Someone must have tipped them off. They know something is wrong. In the distance, Hyunwoo could see dust clouds rising from the road. 3, maybe 4 vehicles racing toward his farm. We need to leave now, Da-eun said, running back up the ramp. Get on the ship. But it was too late. The security vehicles were already pulling up to the farm, surrounding the landing pad. Armed officers jumped out, weapons drawn. A man stepped forward from the lead vehicle. Ji-woo Choi, head of colonial security. He looked at the ship, at Hyunwoo, and at Lyra. Nobody moves, Ji-woo ordered. Hyunwoo Kim, you are under arrest for harboring an undocumented alien presence. The alien will be detained for processing. The escape had failed before it even began. 3 days passed and Lyra's leg healed quickly. Hyunwoo learned that the Vela had faster healing than humans. The burn that should have taken weeks to heal was already fading to a pale scar. During those 3 days, Hyunwoo made a space for Lyra in his workshop. He set up a bed with clean blankets and gave her privacy. He brought her food and water. He showed her where everything was and told her she could use whatever she needed. At first, Lyra barely moved from her corner. She watched Hyunwoo work in his fields and repair his equipment, always alert, always ready to run. But slowly, as he continued to be kind and kept his distance, she began to relax. On the second day, Hyunwoo was working on a broken irrigation pump when he noticed Lyra standing in the doorway of the workshop. She was watching him work. Do you need something? He asked. What are you doing? Lyra asked quietly, fixing this pump. It brings water to my crops, but it stopped working. Lyra moved a little closer. Can I watch? Of course. She sat on the floor nearby and watched him work. Hyunwoo explained what he was doing as he took apart the pump. found the broken gear and replaced it. Lyra listened carefully, asking questions through her translator. "You are gentle with machines," she observed, "like they are alive." Hyunwoo smiled a little. "My father used to say that machines have personalities. If you treat them well, they work better. Where is your father now?" The smile faded from Hyunwoo's face. "He died 5 years ago. My mother and sister too. Transport accident." "I am sorry," Lyra said softly. "I know what it feels like to lose family." They sat in silence for a moment. Two people who understood loss. "Is that why you live alone?" Lyra asked. "Yes, after they died, I did not want to be around people anymore. People ask questions. People pity me. I just wanted quiet." "But you helped me," Lyra said. "Even though you want to be alone?" Hyunwoo looked at her. "You needed help. That is different." That evening, Hyunwoo made dinner for both of them. Lyra offered to help, and together they prepared a simple meal. Hyunwoo taught her how to cook human food, and Lyra told him about Vela food, about the sweet fruits and spiced grains they grew on her world that did not exist anymore. After dinner, Hyunwoo sat at his computer terminal while Lyra rested. He had been avoiding this, but he needed to know the truth. He accessed the Galactic Information Network and searched for information about the Vela and the Kryn Empire. What he found made his stomach turn. The Vela homeworld had been marked as salvaged by the Kryn Empire. According to galactic law, the Kryn had claimed the planet and its population as legitimate spoils of war. Any Vela refugees found in other systems were legally considered property of the Kryn. They could be returned to Kryn control by law. It was barbaric. It was wrong. But it was legal. Hyunwoo read report after report. The Vela people were being sold as workers throughout the galaxy. The Kryn Empire had agreements with dozens of systems. Some governments looked the other way. Some actively helped return escaped Vela. He found the colonial laws for Terminus 7. Any alien presence had to be reported within 24 hours. Failure to report could result in fines, imprisonment, or deportation from the colony. If Lyra was found here, she would be detained and processed, and the processing would lead to her being returned to the Kryn. Hyunwoo closed the terminal and put his head in his hands. He had already broken the law by not reporting her immediately. Every day she stayed here made it worse, but he could not send her back to slavery. He would not. On the third day, Lyra surprised him. He was working in his field when he looked up and saw her kneeling among the plants. She was carefully pulling weeds from around the tomatoes, her movements gentle and precise. "You do not have to do that," Hyunwoo said. Lyra looked up at him. "I want to help. You have given me so much. Let me do something in return. You do not owe me anything." "I know," Lyra said, "but I want to. It feels good to do something useful. I was just hiding and stealing before. Now I can help." Hyunwoo understood. She needed to feel like more than a victim. She needed to feel like a person with value. "Okay," he said. "Thank you." They worked together in the field. Lyra was good with plants. She had a gentle touch and seemed to understand what they needed. She told Hyunwoo about gardens on her homeworld, about the flowers her mother grew. As they worked, Hyunwoo realized something. He was not lonely anymore. For 3 years he had lived in this house alone, speaking to no one for days at a time. He thought he liked it that way. But having Lyra here, talking with her, sharing meals, working together, it made the house feel like a home again. That evening, everything changed. Hyunwoo's communication terminal beeped with an incoming colony-wide message. He opened it and felt his blood run cold. The message was from Colonial Security. There would be routine security scans of all outer farms starting in 2 days. The scans were standard procedure, done every few months to check for safety violations and unauthorized activities. Teams would visit every farm, inspect the properties, and run sensor scans. Lyra would be discovered. Hyunwoo read the message 3 times, hoping he had misunderstood. But the words were clear. Security would be at his farm in 2 days. Their sensors would detect Lyra's presence immediately. Her alien biology would show up on their scans like a flare in the darkness. "What is wrong?" Lyra asked. She had noticed his expression. Hyunwoo turned to her. "Colonial Security is coming here. In 2 days. They will find you." Lyra's face went pale. The glowing marks on her skin pulsed rapidly with fear. "What will they do?" "They will detain you, process you, and then..." Hyunwoo could not finish the sentence. "Send me back," Lyra whispered. She stood up quickly, her hands shaking. "I should run. Hide in the wilderness. They will not find me if I am far away." "No," Hyunwoo said firmly. "You would die out there. You do not know this planet. The wildlife, the weather, the terrain, it is too dangerous. But I cannot stay here. They will take me. They will take you too for hiding me." She was right. If Hyunwoo was found harboring an unreported alien, he would face serious consequences. Prison, probably. Loss of his farm. Everything he had built here would be gone. But when he looked at Lyra, at her terrified face, he knew he could not let her be taken. He could not let her go back to being a slave. "There is another way," Hyunwoo said slowly. An idea was forming in his mind. "We get you off the planet. How? I have no ship, no credits, no documents." "But I know someone who has a ship," Hyunwoo said. "A cargo pilot. She owes me a favor. Would she help?" "I do not know," Hyunwoo admitted. "But I have to try." Lyra looked at him with those large eyes. "You would risk everything for me? You would break more laws, lose your farm, maybe go to prison for someone you just met?" Hyunwoo thought about his answer carefully. 3 days ago, he would have said no. 3 days ago, he would have reported her and followed the law. But something had changed in him. Lyra had changed him. "My whole life I have been following rules," Hyunwoo said. "Following protocols. Doing what I am supposed to do. And when my family died, all those rules did not matter. All that mattered was that they were gone." He looked directly at Lyra. "You are here right now and you need help. That matters more than any rule. That matters more than my farm or my safety. Because if I let them take you, if I do nothing, I could not live with myself." Tears filled Lyra's eyes again. "In my culture, we have something called a life debt. When someone saves your life, you owe them everything. I owe you a life debt, Hyunwoo." "You do not owe me anything," Hyunwoo said. "This is not about debt. This is about doing what is right." "Your people confuse me," Lyra said, wiping her eyes. "The Kryn are cruel and powerful. But you are kind and gentle. I do not understand how both can exist in the same galaxy." "There is cruelty everywhere," Hyunwoo said. "But there is also kindness. We just have to choose which one we want to be." Lyra nodded slowly. "What do we do now?" Hyunwoo took a deep breath. "Now I contact my friend, and we pray she says yes." He walked to his communication terminal with Lyra following behind him. 2 days was not much time, but it would have to be enough. Hyunwoo worked carefully on the alien girl's leg. His hands were steady even though his heart was racing. The burn from the electromagnetic field looked painful. Her skin was different from human skin, smoother and cooler to the touch, but the injury was clear enough. Red and blistered, angry and swollen. She flinched every time he touched her, but she did not pull away. She watched his every movement with those large eyes, ready to run if he did anything threatening. Her whole body was tense like a spring ready to snap. "This might hurt a little," Hyunwoo said. Even though he knew she could not understand him, he just wanted her to hear his calm voice. He applied the cooling ointment to her burn as gently as he could. She made a small sound of pain but held still. Her fingers dug into the soil beneath her. When Hyunwoo finished bandaging her leg, he sat back and showed her his empty hands again. "All done," he said. "You should be okay now." The alien girl looked at her bandaged leg, then back at him. Her expression was confused, like she could not understand why he was helping her. Hyunwoo noticed something hanging around her neck. It was a small device, broken and sparking occasionally. He pointed at it. "What is that?" She looked down at the device and touched it with one hand. She made some sounds, trying to communicate, but he had no idea what she was saying. Then Hyunwoo realized what it might be. A translator. He had seen similar devices in the colony's tech market. Different species used them to communicate across the galaxy. If he could fix it, they could talk to each other. He pointed at the device, then at himself. He made hand gestures like he was working on machinery. "Can I look at it? I might be able to fix it." The alien girl watched his gestures. She seemed to understand what he wanted. Slowly, she reached up and lifted the device over her head. Her hand shook as she held it out to him. Hyunwoo took it carefully, making sure not to make any sudden movements. "Thank you," he said. "I will be careful with it." He carried the device to his workshop, which was attached to his house. The alien girl watched him go, her eyes tracking his every step. Hyunwoo left the door open so she could see him. He did not want her to think he was leaving her alone or trapping her. Inside the workshop, Hyunwoo turned on his work lights and examined the translator. It was old but well made. The main power cell was cracked and several wires were disconnected. He had the parts to fix it. Working with machines was what he did best. Machines made sense. They followed rules. As he worked, he could see the alien girl through the open door. She had pulled herself into a sitting position, her back against a fence post. She held the blanket he had given her wrapped around her shoulders. She was still watching him. Hyunwoo worked quickly. His fingers moved over the tiny components, reconnecting wires and replacing the broken power cell. Within 30 minutes, the translator hummed to life. A small green light appeared on its surface. He walked back outside and knelt near the alien girl. He held out the translator. "I think it works now," he said. She took it from him carefully and put it back around her neck. She pressed a button on the side and the device beeped. "Can you understand me now?" Hyunwoo asked. The translator processed his words and spoke them in her language. The alien girl's eyes went wide with surprise. Then she spoke, and the translator turned her words into something Hyunwoo could understand. You fixed it?" Her voice through the translator was soft and feminine, filled with disbelief. "Yes," Hyunwoo said. "I am good with machines." She stared at him. "Why? Why did I fix it?" "So we can talk." "No," she said. "Why did you help me? Why did you not hurt me?" Hyunwoo felt his chest tighten at her question. What kind of life had she lived where kindness was so surprising? "Because you were hurt," he said simply. "Because it was the right thing to do." The alien girl looked at him for a long moment. The glowing marks on her skin pulsed more slowly now, not as bright. Was that a sign she was calming down? "I am Hyunwoo," he said. "What is your name?" She hesitated, like giving her name was dangerous. Finally, she spoke. "Lyra, my name is Lyra." "Lyra," Hyunwoo repeated. "That is a nice name. Are you hungry? You were taking vegetables from my field." Lyra looked down, ashamed. "I am sorry. I was very hungry. I will work to pay you back." "You do not need to pay me back," Hyunwoo said. "Wait here." He went inside and made a simple meal. Bread, cheese, some of the vegetables from his garden. He brought it out on a plate and set it near Lyra, then backed away to give her space. Lyra stared at the food like she could not believe it was real. "For me?" "Yes, for you. Please eat." She grabbed the food and ate quickly like someone who had not eaten in days. Hyunwoo watched her and felt anger rise in his chest. Not at her, but at whatever had happened to make her so desperate and afraid. When she finished eating, Lyra looked at him again. Some of the fear had left her eyes, replaced by confusion and curiosity. "Why are you alone here?" she asked. "Where are the others of your kind?" "I live alone," Hyunwoo said. "I prefer it that way. The colony is over there." He pointed toward the distant lights of New Haven. "You are not going to call them? To tell them about me?" Hyunwoo thought about that. By law, he should report her. Any alien contact was supposed to be reported immediately to colonial authorities. But something stopped him. "What would happen if I reported you?" he asked. Lyra's whole body tensed. The glowing marks on her skin flared bright with fear. "They would send me back," she whispered. "Back to them. The ones who took my world." "Tell me what happened," Hyunwoo said gently. "I want to understand." Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she started talking, and her story poured out like water from a broken dam. She told him about her people, the Vela, about how they lived on a peaceful world, how they had simple technology and art and families. She told him about the day the Kryn Empire came. Giant ships in the sky, weapons that burned everything. Her people tried to surrender, tried to negotiate, but the Kryn did not want peace. They wanted slaves. The Kryn took the Vela, all of them, loaded them onto transport ships to be sold across the galaxy. Lyra was on one of those ships with hundreds of others. They were kept in cages, given barely enough food to survive. The Kryn treated them like animals. The ship had a problem, Lyra said. Something broke in the engines. We stopped near the system for repairs. I found a way to escape during the confusion. I took an emergency pod and crashed on this planet. "How long have you been here?" Hyunwoo asked. 5 weeks. I have been hiding, stealing food, trying to survive. I thought. She looked at him. "I thought all powerful species were like the Kryn. I thought you would hurt me too." Hyunwoo felt sick. This young girl had been through so much and she was still alone and afraid. "I will not hurt you," he said firmly, "and I will not send you back to them." "But your laws, I do not care about the laws," Hyunwoo said. "Not if they mean sending you back to slavery." Lyra stared at him. Tears formed in her large eyes. I do not understand you. You do not know me. Why would you risk anything for me? Hyunwoo thought about his answer. He looked at this scared, hurt girl who had lost everything. He thought about his own losses, his own pain. He thought about what it meant to be human. Because someone should, he said finally. Because you deserve kindness just for existing. Not because you earned it, not because you owe me. Just because you are alive and you are here and you need help. Lyra's tears spilled over. She cried quietly, her shoulders shaking. Hyunwoo stayed where he was, giving her space to cry. He did not try to comfort her with touch. He just stayed present, showing her she was not alone anymore. When her tears stopped, Lyra looked at him with something new in her eyes. Not trust, not yet, but hope. The first hope she had felt in a long time. What do we do now? She asked. Hyunwoo did not have all the answers, but he knew one thing for certain. Now, he said, we keep you safe. Hyunwoo stood at the edge of his vegetable field staring at the damage. Again. For the third time this week, something had torn through his crops. The gene-modified carrots were pulled from the ground. The tomatoes were half-eaten and scattered across the soil. Whatever was doing this knew exactly which plants were ripe and ready. He knelt down and touched the disturbed earth. The footprints were small and strange, not like any animal he knew on Terminus 7. This colony world had rabbits and deer-like creatures, but their tracks looked different. These prints had too many toes and were shaped wrong. Hyunwoo sighed and stood up. He was tired. Tired of the damage, tired of losing food, tired of mysteries. He lived alone on the edge of New Haven Colony for a reason. After his family died in the transport crash 5 years ago, he wanted quiet. He wanted to work with plants and machines, not people. People asked questions. People wanted to talk about feelings. Plants just needed water and sunlight, but now something was stealing from him and he needed to stop it. That evening, Hyunwoo set up a trap near his best vegetable patch. It was not meant to hurt anything, just to catch it. The trap used electromagnetic fields to create a net of light. When something walked into the sensor area, the net would appear and hold the creature safely. Farmers used these traps for research, to study local wildlife without harming them. He programmed the trap to send an alarm to his communication device. Then he went inside his small house and tried to sleep. The alarm woke him at 2 in the morning. Hyunwoo jumped from his bed and pulled on his boots. His heart was beating fast. Finally, he would see what had been raiding his crops. He grabbed a light and ran outside into the dark night. The trap was glowing bright blue in the darkness. Something was inside the electromagnetic net, struggling and making high-pitched sounds that hurt his ears. Hyunwoo ran closer with his light raised. Then he stopped. His mouth fell open. Inside the trap was not an animal. It was a person. Well, not a human person, but definitely someone intelligent. The creature was small, maybe reaching his shoulder if standing. She wore torn clothing that looked like it was once a uniform of some kind. Her skin was pale with strange glowing markings that pulsed with light. Her eyes were large and filled with terror. She was an alien, a real alien. On his farm, Hyunwoo's mind raced. There were no aliens on Terminus 7. The colony was human only. If aliens visited, there were protocols, announcements, official meetings. You did not just find aliens stealing vegetables in the middle of the night. The alien girl made those high-pitched sounds again, and Hyunwoo realized she was screaming. She was pulling against the electromagnetic net, trying to escape. Her leg was pressed against the field and he could see burn marks forming on her skin. The trap was hurting her. Stop. Stop moving. Hyunwoo shouted, but she did not understand him. She just struggled harder, her eyes wild with fear. She thought he was going to hurt her. He could see it in her face. She was terrified, waiting for him to do something terrible. Hyunwoo made a decision. He ran to the trap's control panel and started shutting it down. His hands shook as he pressed the buttons. The electromagnetic field flickered and died. The alien girl fell to the ground, freed from the net. For a moment, they both froze. She stared at him. He stared at her. Then she tried to run. She pushed herself up and took 3 steps before her burned leg collapsed under her. She fell hard onto the soil, crying out in pain. She did not make those high-pitched sounds this time. This sound was lower, like a sob. She tried to crawl away from him, dragging her injured leg. She kept looking back at him with those huge, terrified eyes. She was shaking. Hyunwoo held up his hands, showing her they were empty. "Wait," he said softly. "Please wait. You are hurt." She did not understand his words, but she understood his tone. She stopped crawling and curled into a ball on the ground, making herself as small as possible. She was waiting for him to attack. Instead, Hyunwoo slowly sat down on the ground several feet away from her. He did not move toward her. He just sat there, showing her he was not a threat. "I am not going to hurt you," he said quietly. "I promise." The alien girl watched him with those huge eyes. Her breathing was fast and scared. The glowing marks on her skin pulsed brighter when she was afraid, he noticed. Right now they were very bright. Hyunwoo could see her leg was badly burned. The electromagnetic field had been too strong for her. She needed medical help. But if he called the colony medical center, they would ask questions. They would want to know why there was an alien on his farm. They would take her away. He looked at her small, trembling form. She was young, he thought, and she was stealing vegetables because she was hungry. She was alone and scared and hurt. Something in his chest tightened. He knew what it felt like to be alone. He knew what it felt like to be afraid. "I'm going to help you," Hyunwoo said, "but I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" She did not answer. She just watched him with fear in her eyes. Slowly, very slowly, Hyunwoo stood up. The alien girl flinched and tried to crawl backward, but her leg would not work. She made a small, desperate sound. Hyunwoo stopped moving. "It is okay," he said. "I am just going to get supplies. To help your leg. I will be right back." He walked backward toward his house, never turning away from her. He did not want her to think he was tricking her. When he reached his door, he went inside and grabbed his emergency medical kit and some old blankets. When he came back outside, he half expected her to be gone. But she was still there, lying on the ground where she had fallen. She did not have the strength to run. Hyunwoo set the supplies down and sat on the ground again, keeping his distance. He opened the medical kit and showed her the supplies inside. Bandages, ointment, pain medication. He pointed to her leg, then to the supplies. The alien girl watched him. Her breathing was still fast, but she was not screaming anymore. She was thinking, he could tell. Trying to decide if she could trust him. Hyunwoo waited. He had all night. He would not force her to accept help. That would just make her more afraid. Finally, after what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, the alien girl slowly stretched out her injured leg toward him. Just a little. Just enough. It was permission. Hyunwoo felt something warm in his chest. She was choosing to trust him, even though she was terrified. That took courage. "Thank you," he said softly. "I will be gentle. I promise." He moved closer, very slowly, and began to help her. In the darkness of the night on a lonely farm, a human and an alien met for the first time. And the human chose kindness.